Good morning, everybody. Welcome to CBS 21 News this morning. I'm Al Ganosa.
I'm Sherry.
We have breaking news coming into the newsroom right now. Crews are on the scene of a second alarm fire at an apartment building in Lancaster City. It's at 33 North Market Street. We do have a crew on the way to the scene. You can expect live updates throughout CBS this morning. Right now, Amazon is looking to build a second headquarters outside of Seattle and central Pennsylvania. That could be in the running. Harrisburg is working with cities in Lebanon, York, Lancaster, and Cumberland counties to submit a joint proposal. Harrisburg is competing against cities all over the country, including Pittsburgh and Philadelphia from the Keystone State. If PA is selected, it could bring 50,000 jobs to the area.
Joy Mansion in Los Angeles.
Yeah, the 91-year-old created a multi-million-dollar adult entertainment empire and in the process became the ultimate playboy himself. A second group of officials with the Pennsylvania Department of Natural Resources is now in Puerto Rico. 17 men and women are helping with the hurricane relief efforts. They left with various supplies, including chainsaws and batteries. Their mission is clear, to clear the roads and to help facilitate transportation. In the meantime, Governor Tom Wolf says Pennsylvania is ready and willing to fulfill federal aid requests for Puerto Rico. The governor is calling on the federal government to act with greater urgency to assist millions who are facing a humanitarian crisis. He says Pennsylvania has fulfilled each request made by Puerto Rico and the federal government for resources, as it did with Texas and Florida. Well, happening this weekend, it's the last event of the season for car enthusiasts in Carlisle. The event will host a variety of vehicles from classic to collector for people to buy, sell, and swap. Along with cars, there'll be over 8,000 vendors on Sunday. Actually, all weekend. And a weekend event pass is $30. Individual day passes are also available. Kids 12 and under are free.
I like it.
Thank you.
See? Well, you might think America.
Well, some other health headlines this morning. A reason pregnant women should monitor their blood pressure. Women with high blood pressure during pregnancy could be increasing the risk of their offspring developing childhood obesity. Chinese researchers found children were 49% more likely to be categorized as overweight if their mothers had high blood pressure during their second trimester. A new European study suggests children under the age of 2 are twice as likely to be hospitalized with the flu if they have an older sibling. Researchers say babies and toddlers can be better protected if the older siblings are vaccinated. The CDC recommends everybody over 6 months old be vaccinated for the flu each year. And a new study finds caffeine does not relieve movement symptoms for people with Parkinson's disease. Research in 2012 found caffeine could help Parkinson's patients, but a new, more extensive study did not reach that conclusion. It found caffeine provided no difference in the quality of life. Well, apparently the price was not right. President Trump reportedly not happy with his Health and Human Services Secretary, how Tom Price is, you get it? His name's Tom Price. And I said the price was not right. Well, how his fate could be sealed by pricey plane trips. You got that one too?
If you have to explain it, Al.
All right, Steve, happening today, Vice President Mike Pence is in Michigan and Wisconsin holding political and tax reform events. A developing story out of Washington. President Trump has unveiled the biggest U.S. tax overhaul in 30 years. Republicans say the plan will cut taxes to the middle class, but Democrats insist that is not the case, claiming it favors the rich. CBS News correspondent Hannah Doba has more about the reform.
I'm Sherry Christian.
And I'm Al Ganosa. Welcome to CBS 21 News this morning. Here at home, we're looking at a warm and sunny day today, but Steve Knight is tracking Maria. Steve, what is the latest? All right, thank you, Michael. Well, happening today, a special forum for families coping with the overdose death of a loved one. It is happening later this morning in Cumberland County. CBS 21 Sarah Small joins us now live with more on this event and how it can help anyone touched by the epidemic. Sarah.
Well,
all right, Steve, we're making local headlines this fine morning. A meeting in Chambersburg to address what state police are calling tension in the community.
It was in response.
Thanks, Erica. Well, happening today, a boil water advisory is in effect in Penn Township, Perry County. Officials say crews spent all day yesterday fixing water lines. People in the area say they were warned over the weekend about low or no water in the township. Many say it's part of an ongoing issue. At times, they say the water is dirty and smelly, and this isn't the first time there's been a boil water advisory.
I am concerned.
Well, shiver me timbers. You ladies might want to practice your args.
Yesterday. I can't do it.
That is the worst.
That is the worst. You know,
Mine or hers?
I stink at
Hers.
impressions.
Okay, all right, good.
You know,
Thank you.
I stink at impressions. So what he said.
Yeah.
It was National Talk Like a Pirate Day. So
Well, happening now, a lawsuit could slow the medical marijuana process, leaving many patients waiting longer than expected to get the medication they need. The lawsuit comes after Keystone Relief applied for a permit to grow marijuana but was unsuccessful. They claimed the state selection and appeals process was inconsistent, unfair, and lacking transparency. Hurricane Maria's 165-mile-per-hour winds are barreling toward Puerto Rico. Governor Ricardo Rossello warned this could be the kind of storm the island has not seen for several generations. This is the second maximum strength hurricane to hit the Caribbean this month. Yesterday, locals and visitors rushed to catch the last flights out of Puerto Rico, but the ones who are staying say they're ready.
Most of the structures are here.
Hurricane Center forecasters say Maria will likely bring life-threatening flooding from rain and storm surge. Another big international story this morning, a magnitude 7.1 earthquake in Mexico City.
And overnight, we learned the death.
All right, Nikki, in the Alert Center this morning, Australia's Prime Minister has announced that 50 refugees will soon come to the U.S. They are apparently resettling under a contentious agreement with Australia. We're told they have been living in Pacific Island camps for years. Former President Obama's administration agreed to accept up to 1,250 of the refugees, mostly from Iran, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka. Sherry. More people are throwing their hats into the ring for a soon-to-be vacant U.S. House seat here in Pennsylvania. 4 people are now looking to succeed this man, Representative Lou Barletta. The Republican is not running for a 5th term in the U.S. House, which means his seat will be open. These are the people running for his spot. On the Republican side, Berwick Borough Councilman Andrew Schechter, State House Representative Stephen Bloom from Cumberland County, former State Revenue Secretary Daniel Muser of Luzerne County, and Democratic Air Force veteran Alan Howe from Carlisle. Meanwhile, Congressman Barletta is looking to challenge Senator Bob Casey in next year's election.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day. See you soon.
First, traffic alert. Time for another edition of Gnoza Knows It. Here's Al.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I don't do this very often, but I'm going to occasionally hit some do-it-yourself topics on Gnoza Knows It, including personal fitness. That brings us to today's topic, and I got a letter from Steve K.
Sure you did.
He asks, Al, what can I do to tighten up my keister? It's getting a little soft as I age. Steve K says, I know you're in great shape, Al. I know. So what do you suggest? Well, thank you, Steve K. from Parts Unknown. I like to do squats and lunges, but I pass this question on to a professional.
The fine folks at Precision Training Concepts train people for a living. Owner Brian Sibach says many folks want to focus on their rear ends. Yes, their own rear ends. So what do they recommend?
If it's the outside of the glute, there's a movement that I like to do on a Smith machine where it's fixed, where they're kind of down on all fours and kind of kick up.
By the way, glutes is another term for butt muscles. Now, I know many of you have glazed over and we lost you, so I had Brian show me an easier exercise where you do not have to get down on all fours. All you need is a chair or a bench.
You would actually scoot up a little bit, so shoulders, and rest the head on the back of the bench. Drop, lift, and get a quick hold. You want to hold it up top. Hold it up. Now, all I want you to do is just angle your feet out a little more and bring your feet open a little more.
Like that?
Like that. Now do that same movement.
Oh, yeah.
So drop, lift, lock, and
Well, calm down, ladies. Calm down. You have to go to work.
Boy.
Settle down. You can do this actually on the chair, too. You can just, like, if you feel, just pinch. Pinch.
Up and down.
Up and down. Pinch those cheeks.
and down.
Pinch.
Well, hopefully Steve K. from Parts Unknown got the answers he was searching for
I think he did.
for his sagging tuchus.
I never noticed it, but I think he'll be fine. I've got his textbooks for college and had to buy a Spanish e-book through a special website. What does the E stand for? How about yee? It costs $201.40. Now, for that money, I expect an interpreter to follow him around for the entire semester, and a hot one at that. So the question for today is, why are textbooks so expensive, and what can colleges do to offset that? Well, many sources point to the publishers as the primary reason in their drive for profits. A piece in The Atlantic says publishers use software that forces students to buy new editions instead of cheaper used copies.
Wow.
But who directs the students to use certain books? Well, it's the professors. The Atlantic piece also says the professors must take a role in this to help lower book costs. The Spanish language is over 500 years old, Sherry. Do we have to use the latest software from 2017? Has it changed that much?
Good point.
I reached out to a few colleges to find out what they are doing to keep book costs down. Now, Hack was the only one that responded. Hack says it offers more than 200 scholarships that students can use in part to pay for textbooks. And it recently An employee recently recommended the use of profits from textbook recycling to establish the Textbook Emergency Assistance Fund.
Like that.
Yes, and the College Bookstore also offers a wide selection of used books at a 25% discount, a very popular textbook rental program. So this is a plea to professors out there. Throw mom and dad a bone. Have mercy on us, please. Use a textbook from 1965, if at all possible. Thank you. I know I had too much caffeine this morning, but I had to get it out.
Now time for another edition of Ganoza Knows It. Here's Al.
It was back on July 28th of 1962 along this stretch of tracks just outside of Harrisburg that a train derailed that was heading from Harrisburg to Philadelphia. 19 people were killed.
And we heard about this baseball special that was going down for a night game. We thought that would be nice.
Joanne Updegrove had just boarded the train with two friends to head to Connie Mack Stadium in Philadelphia for a Saturday night Phillies-Pirates game. They only made it a couple of miles. The train went off the track behind this stretch of what was then Bethlehem Steel.
It was a lot of shaking and everything, and all of a sudden we were down at the bottom of the hill. Fortunately, the river was low. It was only 2 feet deep, they said. And the water was just coming up by your feet.
The derailment and tumble down the embankment was so violent that one man was decapitated. Others were dismembered. Some victims had to be identified by fingerprints. Updegrove said she remembers hearing kids calling for their mommies and daddies. The youngest of the 19 people to die was a 9-year-old boy. Updegrove was one of the 119 people injured.
And I just figured my time wasn't up. But the other people, and I just, the only thing I remember is the mommy, daddy, kids that were in there.
Wow.
Now, there was an investigation afterward and discovered that repair crews had not refastened the track enough, and that's what caused the crash.
Okay. Amazing. And then the pictures from back in the day, from the archive pictures, that was amazing.